Good afternoon, by a few seconds. I think we've repositioned this. Trustees, faculty, staff, students, and friends of AUB, welcome to the 2022 opening day at the American University of Beirut. Today we celebrate together new beginnings and all that can possibly emerge from them. 77 years ago, World War II had just ended. Humankind was beginning to rebuild from this most brutal of wars, which saw the loss of around 50 million lives. No country was more physically devastated than Germany, instigator of the devastating war, and consequently reduced to rubble across vast swaths of that nation. Germany undertook an almost complete rebuild while coming to terms, gradually, with historical crimes of the Nazi regimes which had ruled it from 1933 to 1945. Within 25 years of World War II's end, Germany had passed France as the leading economy in Europe. I'm not counting Great Britain, neither then nor now. Today, Germany is a model of an inclusive social democratic nation with affordable health care for all, a median lifespan of 81 years, a safety net for its most disadvantaged citizens, breathtaking yet functional urban and rural landscapes rebuilt from scratch, a sense of its own history that guards against repeating its violent past, and a willingness to accept refugees and other seekers of its services that contrasts markedly with other Western nations more captivated by their siren song of ethnic nationalism. So what did Germany do to effectively rebuild, to complete one of the most successful rebuilds in modern human history? And what lessons can we glean from that undertaking that can help shape the future of Lebanon and the region? While I'm certainly not a historian, neither of modern Lebanon nor of societal rehabilitation and transformation, important lessons can be gleaned from a series of readings, most recently from Harold Janner's breathtaking Aftermath, Life in the Fallout of the Third Reich, 1945 to 1955. These lessons should provide valuable starting steps as Lebanon and its neighbors continue to slide headlong into societal catastrophes that threaten to disempower citizens, depopulate nations, and further enhance regional stimuli for deprivation, inequality, extremism, and ultimately violence. This is not a first in human history catastrophe. So let us first evaluate the circumstances at our own university as we open our new school year. What is different about the American University of Beirut this year? What remains the same? And what can we, the collective we, as a mini society that strives to foster excellence while encouraging inclusiveness, equality, and diversity, learn from Germany's post-war experience as we seek to propel our university and ultimately the societies we serve towards a better, fairer, and more confident future? At first glance, some things at the American University of Beirut remain unchanged. Our beautiful campus opening its doors to its 157th class, bustling with students, a genuinely welcoming atmosphere, outstanding faculty and staff, and opportunities to participate in campus life and engage in the pursuit of self-transformation. Compelling challenges persist. Lebanon's economy remains in the direst of conditions. Solutions of all shapes and sizes continue to be floated in electoral campaigns here and there across the globe. Immigration from this country and the region accelerates, particularly among youth, but now even among previously more established adults. The instability and crushing unfairness of seeing the financial fruits of lifelong efforts heartbreakingly elusive and inducing real despair. On a fundamental scale, therefore, this must be an opening day that can give cause for genuine hope. There must always be hope. Despite the despair, that has enveloped our small and seemingly star-crossed home country, I'm convinced that that hope is genuine. My conviction arises from elements in Lebanon and the region, as well as those specifically at the American University of Beirut. Over the course of this address, I will outline some of the core reasons I believe those small, imperceptible, but tensile strands of hope are starting to emerge. These seedlings, as we call them, will one day bloom and emerge as opportunities for new beginnings. Many of these beginnings for the people of the Lebanon that we know and the Arab world that we see and touch will emanate, as they have for more than a century and a half, from the American University of Beirut. As I make the case for critical new beginnings, I recall a conversation with Dr. Nassim Nicholas Talib at our commencement in 2016, shortly before he received an honorary doctorate in humane letters. Nassim pointed out the misuse of the term resilience to describe organisms and individuals whose overarching characteristic was not to simply endure or survive under pressure, but actually to excel under these circumstances. I speak, of course, of the anti-fragile phenomenon Nassim came to describe in his Inserto anthology. Our collective memory harkens back to the extraordinary efforts of the faculty, staff, and students of the American University of Beirut across our shared history. The shielding of the faculty and leadership of our sister university, Université Saint-Joseph, during World War I. Cultivating the spirit that led to the drafting of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights in the immediate aftermath of the global catastrophe that was World War II. Rising to the occasion again and again to save lives, educate and lift spirits, open minds, and inspire greatness and transcendent human decency throughout the brutal Lebanese civil war from 1975 to 1990, when those qualities were so hard to find. That period of turmoil and destruction saw two of the university's greatest scholars attend the university, trustee and AUB graduate Huda Zughbi, who is today receiving the Kavli Prize in Neuroscience in Oslo, and 2021 Nobel laureate in medicine and alumnus Ardem Pataputian, whose career in science started in the chemistry department at AUB. It is telling that so many of our most accomplished alumni and faculty either passed through the university or indeed stayed during some of our most defining and demanding crises, of which this era's concatenation of catastrophes is certainly one. And today I want to recognize our faculty and staff and students who have stayed during this latest series of crises. Thank you. Talib describes these rare anti-fragile entities in his book, Anti-Fragile: Things That Gain from Disorders, as follows. Some things benefit from shocks. They thrive and grow when exposed to volatility, randomness, disorder, and stressors, and love adventure, risk, and uncertainty. Yet in spite of the ubiquity of the phenomenon, there is no word for the exact opposite of fragile. Let us call it anti-fragile. Anti-fragility is beyond resilience or robustness. The resilient resists shocks and stays the same. The anti-fragile gets better. This property is behind everything that has changed with time: evolution, culture, ideas, revolutions, political systems, technological innovation, cultural and economic success, corporate survival, good recipes. Here I might differ with him. Say chicken soup or steak tartare with a drop of cognac. Nassim has his taste. The rise of cities, cultures, legal systems, equatorial forests, bacterial resistance, even our own existence as a species on this planet. And anti-fragility determines the boundary between what is living and organic or complex, say the human body, and what is inert, say a physical object like the stapler on your desk. Such an anti-fragile entity, as exemplified by the American University of Beirut, does not grow, and thrive in a vacuum. It requires constant, careful stewardship and stimulation, tender, loving care, and most of all, a defining purpose. That purpose, that mission, must be guarded and communicated, propagated, and ultimately lived by. It is our shared responsibility to support and shepherd this university, one of the defining jewels of our time, and one that can be found in very few, if any, other nation or indeed region. The awesome responsibility to ensure that its powerful legacy grows mandates both historical relevance and powerful new beginnings that lead to better days for the peoples and societies we serve. What new beginnings have we planned for this coming academic year, having already bridged the Mediterranean to launch a twin campus in Paphos, Cyprus? What impact will that launch have on the mothership in Beirut? How will we communicate that impact and our plans for the future in manners that stay true to our legacy and also advance our forward-looking mission? So after a year of intensive consultation study, as many of you know, we have updated the logo of the American University of Beirut, as we announced last week. This distinctive new look is meant to reaffirm our identity as one of the oldest, finest, most prestigious, and most mission-oriented universities, an institution firmly rooted in Beirut, but with an increasingly robust global presence. Despite all the changes, when you look back at the AUB logo through history, you will see that our new logo is not so much a departure as a fresh take on our historic identity. So as we begin our 157th academic year, embarking on a new era for a university firmly rooted in Beirut, but with a more global reach, this new logo is also about new beginnings. It is about refreshing and remaining relevant to new audiences and younger generations. As I said during opening day ceremonies last year, only dinosaurs, figurative and literal, stand still, and we all know their fate. The American University of Beirut is no dinosaur. It is and will always remain vital and vivacious, transforming itself to serve its communities and fulfill its mission in the face of changing circumstances and surrounding realities, whatever they may be. Yet, as this new logo attests, what really matters about this university, its abiding commitment to excellence and service to the people of this region and beyond, must never change. That abiding excellence must be focused to even greater effect for the general societal good. Lebanon is far from the first country to witness a calamitous collapse, in this case a socioeconomic one. In the aftermath of World War II, German citizens emerged from their bomb shelters to a nation brought to its knees by the united force of the Allies. Janner describes in painstaking detail how the German people cleared the massive rubble that enveloped their landscape, even as they took time to understand the consequences of their catastrophic leadership of the Holocaust. They rebuilt their towns and cities and welcomed an infusion of 10 million ethnic Germans migrating to their ancestral nation. Think about that for those who question hosting of refugees. All told, in this post-war period, Germany absorbed more than 10 million immigrants painfully but systematically and integrated them into their society. They created a more diverse and more welcoming post-war German identity that included ethnic Turks, among others, and Kurds. The identities of these various Germanies, eventually crystallizing in East and West Germany, subsequently came together and were unified with the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, becoming clear not only to the citizens of Germany, but to the world. There's a lesson there for the Lebanese who complain about having too many sects. Many lessons gleaned from this post-war period revolve around identity, engagement, and citizenship. Consistent with our values, we must review and renew our own inclusiveness and the sustainability of our student life. One of the most pressing needs in an uncertain Lebanon and the region is to provide some certainty for our students by revising the tuition to allow a gradual shift to a more stable and meaningful dollar-based tuition over two distinct three-year periods that I label STORM, 2019 to 2022, and DRANG, 2022 to 2025, we've leveraged our resources to enhance student inclusiveness without sacrificing scholarly excellence. We have not just said, but we have realized substantial increases in financial aid for students while outlining the tuition required for degree completion as we adopt the transitional dollar-based approach necessary to retain our stellar faculty and staff. We've refreshed while ensuring continuity, recruiting 78 new faculty members over the last 18 months, stabilizing our losses, seeing regrowth of our core constituents, faculty, students, and staff, convincing more than 24 faculty members who had left to return to our university from leaves taken during the dark days of the prior period. Consequently, we've recruited and matriculated one of our strongest incoming classes of students in years, without sacrificing either excellence or inclusiveness. We've collaborated with our generous, sustaining partners by investing in a more inclusive, more excellent, better American University of Beirut. Resources provided by our trustees, alumni, and friends, as well as our critical partners, such as the MasterCard Foundation, represented today by our guests. Thank you. By USAID, MEPI, ULIP, and others are being invested into student scholarships, patient assistance, salary support, and campus growth, and also into new initiatives. These new initiatives include AUB Online, targeting, hopefully, tens of thousands of unique users over the next 5 years, as well as twin campuses in Cyprus and the Arab world, planned to ultimately include an additional 5,000 in-person students outside of Lebanon to balance the 7,500 we plan to inhabit our main Beirut campus when we achieve steady state by 2035. Initiatives include as well enhanced support of student clubs, state-of-the-art student facilities, better advising, greater access to mental health support, stronger and more diverse career counseling, and cross-campus programs. Further steps also include and involve the physical uplifting of our main campus, as will be demonstrated over the next 2 days by the openings of the Dar al-Handasa Architecture Building and the Ayman and Sausan Asfari Building. Research efforts are no less impressive. Over the last 2 years, our faculty members obtained the largest number of research grants and dollars of funding in the proud history of our university. Their citations continuing to rise, their honors multiplying in spite of the severity of landscape. Now that's anti-fragile. Our faculty, alumni, staff, and students have won award after award, competition after competition. To ensure we could safely open our campus last year, we vaccinated 99.7% of our community against COVID-19. We have resisted and persisted through reaccreditation of our faculties, programs, and our beloved and world-class medical center. We have done everything that I've spoken of together as one united community, albeit one that continues to celebrate diverse viewpoints and perspectives. Our identity is clear then. The American University of Beirut remains deeply rooted in Lebanon, in Beirut, among the most culturally rich, diverse cities in the world. We are determined to lead in the evolution of a more sustainable Lebanon and Arab world. From participation by 7 of our faculty members in parliamentary elections to leadership roles in governmental and non-governmental economic and social reform, to fostering a generation of citizen leaders confident in who they are and what they can accomplish on the societal level. The American University of Beirut, now emblazoned in Beirut's red of the Lebanese soil, as resolute and anti-fragile as ever, continuously embraces the teaching and embodiment of citizenship in a region where the meaning of that phrase, citizenship, has been consistently obscured and obfuscated. Only those ignorant of history can ignore our track record and determination to pursue excellence for the greater good, both at home, on our campuses, across Lebanon, the Arab world, the region, and the world. Konrad Adenauer, the great post-war German chancellor who led Germany back from ruin to preeminence and sustainability, once wrote, "We all live under the same sky, but we don't all have the same horizon." We all live under the same sky, but we don't all have the same horizon. That horizon and the citizenship necessary to achieve it start at home. To our students, pick up a new activity, expand your scope, join a club, immerse yourself in this magnificent institution and all it has to offer. Today, we begin again, and nothing must stop us from becoming all we aspire to be, serving as the champions of that enduring, anti-fragile, rising tide that lifts all boats. Thank you, each and every one. Thank you all for your commitment to the American University of Beirut. We are here for free minds to flourish. We always will be. I look forward to a momentous year together. Thank you.